Hello again, this is Javier from Smarter Path, an AI automation agency where we build customer support, lead generation, and lead qualification solutions via voice and text AI automation. Today, we're going to complete the build that we were creating last week, which you can check right here, where we were creating a post from podcasts, basically generating ideas from each podcast, and from there we would actually, each idea we would contextualize it ourselves. And today we will complete the build where we will actually generate the post, the image, and store it in our database, which we'll use Google Sheets as we were doing last week. So let's get to the build. Now we'll go into the second part of the flow, which is the longer, more complex one, because that's the one where we're going to be building the image as well as the post itself. So we can actually just copy this trigger and this part right here, we can just double it and add it right below. So here on the trigger, we want to do it a bit later. So instead of midnight, we can do it at 1 a.m., for example. So we just take the output from the previous one. And here, instead of getting new podcasts, we're actually getting ideas. And instead of going from new podcasts, we go into LinkedIn. And we want to filter out the ones that have a post body that's empty. So this has to be like this. And then we can remove this because that's not an actual column that we have. And we'll just go with this. Apart from the post body being empty, we want to have the context full, but we'll actually do an if statement afterwards, so we can actually do that. So the thing that we have right now is that there's none, I think, that have any personal context and that have a post body that's empty. So we need to actually create some here. So let's do something around this. So our personal context is, the thing is that Lindy is comparatively expensive if you look at options such as N8N, which allow you to build the same, but with more adaptability and cheaper. It's just slightly more technical. So that's my insight here, for example. So we will take this one, and that's the one that we'll actually go with now. So let's re-execute the step so we can actually have that input as well. So we have 9 items now, obviously from the 9 posts that we just, or the 9 ideas that we just generated. And personal context, post body, etc. are generally empty, except for the personal context of the one that we just did. So now we will actually go into a loop right here, and we will loop over the items. And here we will actually have an if statement. So let's delete this, and this is an if statement. What will we do in the if statement? So execute the previous node. Good. And let's actually just end this as well so we don't have to run it every time. In the if statement, what we will check is basically if the idea is not empty. So it's a string and it can't be empty. Good. And then we will check as well that the personal context, which is also a string, let's copy and paste it properly. There we go. It's also not empty. Neither one can be empty, otherwise we don't want to execute. And then, so if this is a false, so there either one of them is empty, we just go back into the loop. If it is true that neither one of them is empty, that's when we keep going. And here we will actually have our first AI of this flow. And for this, I actually want to use a basic LLM chain where we will actually define below a prompt and require a specific output format. And I will take here Claude, because I think Claude for Sonnet is, for me, the best when it comes to copywriting. Let's bring this down to 0.3. As always, let's actually comment what each one of these is. Claude for Sonnet. Good. And then this is the LinkedIn post generator. Let's take it out a bit to the side so it's not so crammed over here. And here we check idea and context. so that we know that what we're doing. Get ideas, loop over items, great. So here the output parser, we'll just take this one, and the output, the way that we want to have it is very simple, but just to make sure that we have what we want, it's like this. So LinkedIn post copy, and copy goes here. Okay, so this is very simple. And now we will add on top of this the prompt that will help us generate this. Okay, so let's go into that. So let's take no user message at the top, but we'll actually start adding messages here. So let's actually take this, the system one, and let's copy and paste it from here. So you're a helpful, intelligent content writing assistant that generates LinkedIn posts for me, an AI automation agency owner in this case, building automations in customer support and sales to help unlock revenue, reduce bottlenecks, and increase the value add of the hours of companies. That's basically the idea behind this agent right here. I like it as an expression, even though it's the same thing, but we can actually read it better as well. Then let's add more stuff to it. So then as a user, so not as a system, but a user, let's take this and bring in this information right here. So let's also as an expression, and let's copy and paste it here, and let's read over it. So you take as input a section of a transcript along with some observations about that section and some points of feedback, and use it to generate a clean, beautifully formatted LinkedIn post in this format. So we write the format here again. And the rules, you're writing off of someone else's content, so whatever you say, make it as a commentary of that, or as your own reflections on it. For this, make particular use of the personal context info for everything you write. Write in a Spartan, laconic tone of voice, no explanation points, no leading questions or emojis. Write like a business professor talking bluntly to his students, except simpler. Keep it at a grade 6 reading level or below. This is actually key. If you keep it above this, engagement generally drops. This is simple to read, simple to understand, and it generally performs much better. And this is actually quite good at doing that. And then LinkedIn post truncate after 3 lines of about 10 to 15 words each. So write an engaging first 3 lines and then context around the rest of the point underneath the paragraph. Instead of 3 lines, actually, I will do 2 lines because what I will do here as well is make sure there's a new line character after every sentence. This we want to do because it makes it much easier to read. It's much more digestible. If we have a new line after every sentence, it's very easy to read. It's much more open and easy to digest for the reader. So that's why we have the first 2 lines or the first 2 sentences. And then context around the rest of the point underneath the paragraph. Perfect. So this is good as it is. Great. What else do we need here? So we need to basically pass the inputs to it. So now let's add prompt. Again, this is user, text, and we want to send it the transcript, the constant feedback, and the deep explanation. So let's do this and this. Okay, so we have this. And obviously the personal context, which is key. And actually the reason why we are filtering is based on this. So this is great now. And now this should be fine as it is. So let's actually go. Or do we need to have anything here? We shouldn't. Define below, require specific format. This is expression and it's empty. Okay. Let's just keep it as that. So let's now execute this step. So we need to actually go over this. And keep going and going until we get to the one that's actually true. Unless we're just going over the first one over and over again. Row number 13. Yes, it seems we're just going over the first one over and over and over again. So let's actually just go through the whole flow. So the first 3, they went down, and then the next one went here. And this actually blocks the flow because this doesn't close the loop. But now we have that inside here, so we'll just pin this as well. So the posts copy is this. Lindy A gets praised for its 100 plus automation templates, but here's what most people miss about template libraries. Okay, so it's a bit bashy of Lindy, but it's based on my comment adding context that I added, so it's my fault if so. So if anything, I would have to just polish my context that I'm adding. So here we will add another AI to generate the image, but we're not going to generate the image directly. We are going to add message model that will take this prompt and will generate an image based on my personal avatar created on Replicate, as you can see in the video right here above me. You have all of the instructions to create your own avatar so that you can perform this step along with me after you have created it. So we'll use again here GPT-4o latest. Oh, let's first actually take the proper credentials. 4o latest. And here the prompt is actually quite simple in this case, so we'll just copy and paste it. And here it's an expression, so let's copy it. And we can see it here. So we're taking the following LinkedIn post and creating a prompt adapted for an image generator to create an image that goes with it. The post is for someone who is an AI automation agency business owner, and they're posting educational content and reflections about AI and automation. Always make the main image character have their face towards the camera, don't have him with his back towards the viewers. Always in the prompt with this. The photo is extremely photorealistic to avoid having too much cartoonishness. And when you describe the main character of the scene, describe him as Javi Luen, who is a very robust and athletic entrepreneur who has very short hair. This happens because I actually am fairly athletic and thick, and I have short hair, and sometimes otherwise the model will actually create a version of me that looks nothing like me. This sometimes leads to the version that is generated to be much more jacked than I am, but it's something that I can deal with, and I can just polish this a little bit more. I could remove the very and see how that goes, but with this, it generally should be okay. And then the output should have this format. So prompt, the prompt you create. And the post copy is the one that we just created. So the LinkedIn post copy right here. So this is actually quite good as it is. And we can just execute it now. It's already pinned, the previous one. So we are good to go. And they should take about 3 seconds. There we go. So we have here exactly as I asked. Let's see. Prompt, the prompt you create. Okay, there we go. So in a schema, it's the content is the prompt and the information. Great. And let's see here. Good. So now we need to add here an HTTP request to connect to Replicate and actually generate the image. And this is actually a complex part of the flow. So we will actually try to make it right now and hope for the best. No, the information here is complicated because the Replicate API is not as straightforward as some others are, because they have an API, but the output of the API gets deleted every hour. So you will generate images, and those will get deleted after an hour. So you need to be on top of this flow if you want to do it like that. So instead of that, we actually need to have a bit of a workaround where we will do it via webhook. So we will get sent the picture to us. That picture will actually be saved for one, and we'll actually store it directly into a Google Drive. So here, we will actually go with this model, and we are through the webhooks, and this is what we want to use actually. So we want to go into the HTTP request, and we want to create based off of this. So this is the C URL. Let's see if this works as I want it to work. There we go. So import. Okay, let's see. So, oh no, that's the previous one. So let's do this, import. Okay, so we have the predictions, so this is good. Authentication none, send headers, yes, prefer wait. This is fine, I think. Then here I need to copy my replicate API token. I'll add it in a second. And here we want to use the specific model that we are looking into. So the version we are actually going to go with the one we have right here. So the black forest lab, so this whole thing. So let's just copy this whole thing here, which is where we are actually storing or the model that we are using ourselves. And now in the input, we have the prompt, which is the one that we just generated. So it's, it should just be the prompt out of this. So we could post-process this information, but we can just add this right here and see that it, and hope that it works well, basically. We can test it after to see if we need to post-process it or if we need to add anything to the prompt to make sure that it works well. And then the next thing that we want to do is, as part of the model, we have here, whenever we're in the playground, we have this thing at the bottom, which is the LoRa weights. And this, we want to use not this one, which is the cyberpunk thing, which creates this kind of images, but the one for our own model. So let's add here LoRa weights. And in my case, I will add my own model, which is hosted in Hugging Face, as we saw in the previous video. So that's the one. And with this, I now just need to add the webhook to the webhook that we're creating right here, actually, as part of the next flow, or the next section of the flow. So here we will add the webhook. Now I will create that webhook, so we actually have it set up, and we can directly connect right there. So here it's simply creating a webhook. So let's add webhook trigger. There we go. And we're going to go into production, and let's just call it replicate finished, for example. And authentication none, respond immediately. Yes, good. So we'll copy this, and that's actually what we will add right here into the request to replicate. So let's add it right here as the webhook is this one. Okay, so with this, we are good to go. And we can, and this is the instance, so this is the webhook, perfect. So this actually will work. Now we just need to copy the API key, otherwise, again, we will have an issue. So let's take the token and copy and paste it right here. And let's execute this step. And now we should wait for a few seconds. Our JSON parameters need to be a valid JSON. I guess this is an issue with the prompt. Kevin, take it easy, man. Sorry. So we do need it then, I guess, to create here the code. Or here, actually. Let's see how we can go about this so we don't run into this issue. Okay. Okay, output content as JSON. We were missing that, so let's re-execute this and see if it works correctly this time. There we go. So instead of having that as a text, good. So this is actually, it should work better now, and we need to fix this here. So instead of the content, we actually want to use the prompt itself. Good, and now let's execute this and see if it works correctly this time. There we go. So now we have this active, otherwise we'll have issues with the webhook here, because this is actually going to get triggered in a second, probably. Let's actually see if we get anything. So this is when we executed that, good. And if everything works well, we'll get this, otherwise we need to rerun it, which should be fine as well, so no issue. But basically to be able to get the information back into that webhook. So now we just, from here, go into a code node to process properly the information that we have. And basically, we just want to make sure that all of the information is able to be put in place in Google Sheets back. So we're just basically adding new line characters instead of having new lines, basically. So we just have this right here. So we take the LinkedIn post generator. So right here, good. And we basically process everything so that we don't have, this already has the new line, so this is great. So probably this will not actually do anything, but in case we ever have any issue with that, we'll just have that ready. And then we will actually set the LinkedIn JSON. So set And here we will actually map it manually. Do it with a JSON. And here we want to use, okay, let's execute previous nodes. We might actually be calling again, yeah, all of this. So actually now we should be able to see the request reaching the webhook. And now let's also pin all of these so we don't have to rerun them. Great. Here, pin as well. And then here we have all of this information. So now we have the post body. And here we have the JSON escape text. Great. And then we have as platform, we will have LinkedIn. So it's LinkedIn. We will not be using this at the moment, but eventually we could actually do this, especially if we want to do this more programmatically and we have more platforms and so on. So let's execute this step. Great. We can pin this as well. And now we go into the last step on this part of the flow, which is basically adding this to the LinkedIn sheet. So we can actually even copy and paste this node right here, because we're going to be using basically the same things that we have right there, simply different order. So add to LinkedIn sheet. Good. So now here we want to update a row that we already have filled out. So let's actually map it on the idea, for example. So the idea should come from right here, for example, right? So we have this idea to match, and everything else we just need to add now the post body and the image prompt. And with these two things, we are now good to go. Great. So let's actually also change the name right here. Message model, it's image prompt. So this is replicate prediction. Good. And now we have the code, new line character here, new lines. And here just editing fields, this is fine. And now we can just go back into the beginning of the loop because we are done with this part of the flow. So we can also bring this down a bit to have a nicer and more neatly organized flow. Let's take all of them together, and here they are, and bring them a bit closer because no need to have them so separated. Great. So now we have this full thing here, and we can actually now also, we should be able to see this. Great, exactly this. Okay, now that's that one. And let's see. Okay, so that one didn't generate anything. This one also did not go into this. Okay, let's actually change this a little bit because we actually had a different one that was created the same way. So let's copy this to editor. No, cancel. So let's go back to the editor without copying it. And here, let's actually change this a little bit. Have it one replicate. No, here, replicate finished, replicate YouTube finished. So YouTube finished. And that way we actually also update here, replicate YouTube finished. And this actually should be a post method. That's why we're not getting it. That's why. So small mistakes like this, you just need to debug, correct, and figure it out. So let's actually rerun this. So this one we will not be pinning. So we can just run this again. All of the rest are already done. Okay, now actually even everything else should be the same. So now we should have in a few seconds this one, the 3 millisecond one, which goes into this one. And here we have the image that was generated right now. So we can actually even check it at this URL. So we can see this image, and it's this one in this case. that it was created. So I'm a bit chubbier than I should be. So this is some of the issues that you can run into when you're creating images like this. And this is the prompt that we passed to it. So this actually, I have two watches too, funnily enough. But yeah, so this is the image that was generated. So now we want to take this image and add it into a Google Drive so that we can later on bring it in into the post as well. So now we actually want to go into code node here. And in this code node, it's quite simple. We want to just get the stream URL from it. So we just want to go this, a JSON with a stream URL, which is the, if you see this, the input, we want to go into the body, and here we want to go into the output. And the output, the first one, which is this. So the output 0. So that's what we want to get basically. And from this, we can now go and add it into the Google Drive. Well, first we need to get it. So we want to do an HTTP request through that link that we just got. And here, what we just want to take is execute previous nodes. So we want to use this URL here. And here we want to send headers and authorization here, which is the same as we had before for replicate, because this is still replicate. So we want to do the same as before. So bearer and the token. And here for the body, we want to actually, no, not for the body, for the options, we want to actually have a saving, basically. So in the response, we want to response format, it's a file, and we can call it data, so this is fine. So with this, we should be fine. So we can now execute this step, and now we can view the same file that we were seeing before. So this is perfect. And from this, we want to go into Google Drive. So let's do Google Drive, and we want to create file from text, I think is the one. So we will, no, we actually want to upload a file. Upload a file, not update, upload a file. Data, it's called data, so this is the exact same way. File name, we can just do replicate dash, and we can go into the schema right here, and we can just take this, replicate stream. Let's actually do this all the way around. So we just want to call it as a PNG, and we'll just take this. So the JSON, so from here, the stream URL split by the dash and then pop to replicate out O web. I could do without this, but for now we can just go with this. And we're going to do it into my drive, and we're going to do it into YouTube, I think is the name. No, it's not YouTube, actually. It's LinkedIn post photos. There we go. So now if I execute this step, I should be saving this right here, and we should see this image right here created. There we go. So we have it saved right now. And now from this, we want to also save this into the Google Sheet so that we actually can map it properly. So let's just copy this node right here again. We're copying this node everywhere, as you can see, but it's because we're doing a lot of things that are quite similar with this. So here we want to update a row, and we want to map it onto the image prompt, which is actually something that we're bringing in from the webhook. So let's go into the webhook right here, and the prompt is this one. So we can actually map it out properly. The idea, we don't want to have anything there. So fixed, nothing. And then the post body, we also don't want to have anything there. And we just want to have the post image. So for the post image, we want to take it from the Google Drive. We here have the link to exactly where it is. So the web view link post image. If we copy and paste this, we should be able to see this image in Google Drive, the same way we were seeing it right here. So exactly the same. Fantastic. So now we have access to the image itself with a link, and we can execute this, and we will map it. What? Oh yeah, we want to unpin it from this one. Yeah, this is good. No output data in this case. Let's see if it worked. So let's see if we actually have run the whole thing at the top. What did we have here, Claude? Just post body image prompt. Let's see here. So execute this step, unpin and test. So it's executing previous nodes. Which ones are in need of being executed? In node add to. Okay, so let's see what we have here. Too many requests. Okay, let's actually add a wait here then as well, just to avoid issues. 5 seconds, this is fine. Okay, good. So now we have this right here to avoid having that issue again. And from this, let's just keep this pinned so we don't have to rerun and recreate new ones. And let's just run this again. Everything should be properly created. Post body image prompt. So now we have it here. Good. So we have all of this right here, create a hyper realistic. And now with this, we should be able to map it properly from here. So let's see. Let's see if this is the same one. Create a hyper realistic office. Yeah, this should be the same. So now we have this. So executions, let's quickly see. Is it this one? Okay, so let's re-execute this. So copy to editor. Okay, unpin. And here we want to execute this again and see if we have it properly done. Yes, so we have this here again, and now we have this image here also added. So now we have everything that we need to post right here. So we can just copy directly the post body, and we can get the image right here, and we can create a LinkedIn post in seconds through this. We just need to make sure to add some personal context to make sure that we don't just recycle someone else's content, and we can do this. In a future video, we will actually automate how to go from this directly into LinkedIn through another automation, so we don't have to double check on anything once we are happy with the results that we're getting from the posts and from the images. With this type of systems that actually are related to your brand, I always think that it's good if we can actually first test them out and in doing them in a more manual way, and eventually we can actually go and automate the full process once we are confident that the results will actually be up to the standard that we have for ourselves. So as you can see, in very few steps, with just 3 simple flows that have some complexity, but they're nothing that should scare anybody, you can actually automate your full content generation process based on the content that you consume also via YouTube. As I said at the beginning of the video, you can actually do this as well with newsletters that you're getting on your Gmail account or anything like that. Wherever you can consume content that is written, you can just pass it onto this flow, and you will actually get a lot of ideas. From those ideas, you can add your own insight, and then the rest of the post will be automatically generated for you. We will create a future video where we'll actually post the whole thing automatically as well into the different social networks. But for now, you can test this out and see if you like the results that you're getting, and then increase your posting capacity. If you like the video and you stayed until the end, feel free to like and subscribe. And as always, looking forward to see you again next week. This is Javier from Smarter Path.